So, recently on a Facebook thing, a challenge maybe, my friend challenged me to put up just the covers of 7 books I loved, one for each day of the week. And so these are not my favorite books out of all the books in the world, but they are my favorite books of the ones that I've read from my bedroom. And I did it on Facebook, and it's really hot. That's why I'm breathing hard. But I wasn't allowed to say anything about like why they were my favorite or even what they were about. So I'm gonna do that now. Not super in depth because I'm losing my voice and it's super hot in my room. But basically, I'm gonna summarize the plot and read the back of the book. So the first one is called Butterflies by Suzanne Gervais, and it's all about a burn victim survivor. She has burns all over her body, and it's about her being able to learn how to live with it, and also about her parents and their past. So this is the back. I know there are miracles. The professor said there are miracles. I'll have soft skin and pretty hair one day. One day I'll wear my hair up. Catherine is almost 18. Severely burned when she was 3, she dreams that one day she will look like everyone else, be like everyone else, achieve her dreams. But Catherine won't be seen as a victim. Her life is filled with fun and humor and friendship as she faces her first real date, arguments with her mom, and decisions about her future. An extraordinary story of a journey where pain and trauma become triumph, and a passion for living. Butterflies is a coming-of-age story that celebrates the fighter in all of us. So that's like my number one favorite book right now. Because, yeah. This next one is called Jasper Jones by Sylvie from Knopf Press. And I don't have the book jacket for it. I just found out that it was made into a movie, and for some reason that kind of makes it lose a lot of the thing that I liked about it, which was that it's so simple on the outside. It kind of made it feel like it was a secret that no one else knew about, that I only knew about. Like, it wasn't a very popular book, but apparently it is. Anyhow, it's a murder mystery, and it's super, super interesting. Like most books, I will only read once, even if I like them, but this book I've read like 5 times since I got it. And even though I know how the story is going to happen, it's still interesting every time. The next 2 or 3 really are classics. Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell, and everybody knows that story. Many novels have been written about the Civil War and its aftermath. None take us into the burning fields and cities of the American South as Gone with the Wind does, creating haunting scenes and thrilling portraits of characters so vivid that we remember their words and feel their fear and hunger for the rest of our lives. In the inimitable Scarlett O'Hara and Rhett Butler, Margaret Mitchell not only conveyed a timeless story of survival under the harshest of circumstances, she also created the 2 most famous lovers in the English-speaking world since Romeo and Juliet. So, yeah, I really, really like this book too, and I've read it 2 or 3 times, and for some reason, even though it's 1,400 pages, 1,400 pages, it never takes me as long as it took me to read the Nile book, and that was like half that. The pages are smaller. The next one is something my parents bought me, and I've only read it once because the movie pretty accurately follows the book. Like, for, sometimes when they make books out of movies and they're just like, eh, this one, like, pretty accurate. So this book is The Princess Bride, S. Morgenstern's classic tale of true love and high adventure by William Goldman. A tale of true love and high adventure, pirates, princesses, giants, miracles, fencing, and a frightening assortment of wild beasts. The Princess Bride is a modern storytelling classic. A As Florin and Gilder teeter on the verge of war, the reluctant Princess Buttercup is devastated by the loss of her true love, kidnapped by a mercenary and his henchmen, rescued by a pirate, forced to marry Prince Humperdinck, and rescued once again by the very crew who absconded with her in the first place. In the course of this dazzling adventure, she'll meet Vicini, the criminal philosopher who'll do anything for a bag of gold, Fezzik, the gentle giant, Inigo, the Spaniard whose steel thirsts for revenge, and Count Rugen, the evil mastermind behind it all. Foiling all their plans and jumping onto their stories is Wesley, Princess Buttercup's one true love and a very good friend of a very dangerous pirate. Personally, I think if you want to read the book, you can, but the movie pretty much doesn't miss anything. So I saw the movie several times before I read the book, and all of my family is the kind of people who will just quote lines from that movie. We all have the movie script pretty much memorized. The next book I have is called Year of Wonders. It's a novel of the plague by Geraldine Brooks, and I'll just read the back for you. But I really like this book because it's super haunting. And there's another book, I don't think it's by her, but the covers are kind of similar, and I think it's called 1849 or something. The title is a date, and it's called Fever. I think it's called Fever 1849. The cover is yellow, and then there's a face on it like this, but it's a different face. And it's all about yellow fever, but it's a lot thicker, and I read that in 5th grade. And it really reminds me of this, but I've never been able to find it anywhere, so if you guys know about that book, I would love to read it. But this book reminds me of that book, and I also find it really interesting. So again, this is one I've read several times. When an infected bolt of cloth carries plague from London to an isolated mountain village, a housemaid named Anna Frith emerges as an unlikely heroine and healer. Through Anna's eyes, we follow the story of the plague in the year 1666, as her fellow villagers make an extraordinary choice. Convinced by a visionary young minister, they elect to quarantine themselves within the village boundaries to arrest the spread of the disease. But as death reaches into every household, faith frays. When villagers turn from prayers to murderous witch hunting, Anna must confront the deaths of family, the disintegration of her community, and the lure of illicit love. As she struggles to survive, a year of plague becomes instead Annus Mirabilis, a year of wonders. So I just find that so interesting. As you can tell, I like stories that are full of drama and intrigue and plot twists. This book, I think I've talked about it on here before, but just again, The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. I'm aware that there is either a movie or a TV show of it. Haven't seen it, but I really want to, so if any of you guys have seen it, please let me know where you saw it so I can try to find it, as in on Hulu or Netflix or wherever. I'm gonna need to get the password for our Netflix account so I can change the settings, but, Offred is a handmaid in the Republic of Gilead. She may leave the home of the commander and his wife once a day to walk to food markets, whose signs are now pictures instead of words because women are no longer allowed to read. She must lie on her back once a month and pray that the commander makes her pregnant, because in an age of declining births, Offred and the other handmaids are only valued if their ovaries are valuable. Offred can remember the years before, when she lived and made love with her husband, Luke, when she played with and protected her daughter, when she had a job, money of her own, and access to knowledge. But all of that is gone now. Funny, unexpected, horrifying, and altogether convincing, The Handmaid's Tale is at once scathing satire, dire warning, and tour de force. So this is the last book. It might be kind of surprising / triggering to some people that I actually like a book titled this. It's called Cut by Patricia McCormick, and I actually got it from my school library. They were giving away the books they don't want to keep in circulation. They give them back. And I'm not going to read the back of this because it might be triggering to some people, but as you can probably tell, this book is about self-harm. And I like this book because it really kind of gets the perspective of someone who does self-harm. And it kind of, gets back to how there's actually a motive for it. Because some people kind of, I don't know, I have experiences with self-harm, both with friends and myself. And it's really something that's hard to explain, and every person's experience is different. But I think sometimes people always think that there's a reason, and I don't know if that there's always true that there needs to be a reason. When there is, like there is in this book, it ties it up all nice, and then you're like, oh, well, that explains it. We'll just fix the problem. But if, well, I mean, it usually is related to mental health issues, even if it's not like a diagnosable thing. You just might have a mental health issue in general, or it's like just something you're working through and that's how you're dealing with it. It's a coping mechanism. But it isn't always for one specific reason. Sometimes it just happens. Like, you are in control of what you do, but you don't necessarily always have a motive. Sometimes you just want to, or you just do it. Um so this one, it does a good job of explaining sometimes how it works, but it also shows how the main character is able to recover and get better, and it also does show another person's self-harm perspective within the story. And yeah, obviously if that is something that will trigger you or make you want to self-harm, I highly don't recommend that you read it, because obviously it's not a great idea to hurt yourself. I don't recommend that you do that. But if it's just something you want to experience or read to understand someone's point of view or understand why someone else would do that, then I would recommend that you read it, because it's very informative and it is an experience that it'd be good to understand. And it's sometimes hard for people who haven't experienced it to understand, and it's actually hard for people who have experienced it to understand other people's experiences with it, because not everyone's experience is the same. So those are my top 7 books, at least for right now. Please totally comment your top 7 or however many books that you really like in the comments, because I love getting more things to read. Like, I never run out of stuff to read. Well, I mean, I never run out of wanting to read things. So, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching, and please come back for another video. And if you guys want me to do videos with different topics, or not just me talking constantly, then please give me some other ideas. Excuse me, sorry. May or may not have mentioned, but I'm gonna be starting school pretty soon, and so I don't know how my upload schedule is gonna be. Right now, I'm trying to do about 2 videos a week, but that may end up changing. I might have to go down to 1 video a week, 1 video every 2 weeks. I really don't know. So it's probably going to be a lot more sporadic than it usually is during the school year. So I hope you guys don't mind that. Please keep coming back. Please keep watching me. I'd like to become a monetizable channel. Super like small right now, but I like it when people like what I do. So if I have enough people to become monetizable, it means a lot of people like what I'm doing.